to perform the calculations from time to time as we go through this. So last time we did simple interest. Simple interest, I have a formula. It's I equals P times R times T. That's your formula. But not all interest is simple interest. Simple interest does work in many situations, but most situations, to be honest with you, use this thing that we call compound interest. So let me tell you what compound interest is. Here's the definition. Any interest that you earn while you are in an investment or you're in a loan, that gets added on to the principal, and it also starts to earn interest as well. When you're doing simple interest, the only thing you're going to calculate interest on is the principal at the very beginning, right? The initial amount. But with compound interest, as your interest is being generated, that's getting added on to the principal. So your principal actually gets bigger, and therefore the interest that you earn is actually going up as well. So therefore on a compound interest, your interest also earns interest. And that's the thing I want you to understand about compound interest. Simple interest is just simply using the same principal all the time. Compound interest, the principal is actually going up as you earn interest on it. So therefore you end up with more interest with compound interest than you do with simple interest. Of course, there's a formula. So yesterday's formula was just P times R times T. Well, this time we're going to have the same P, which is the principal. Oh, by the way, the A in this formula is the amount, and the amount is one of the things that we learned yesterday. That is when you add the principal and the interest together. Those two things together is what we call the amount. So the amount in this case is equal to the original principal multiplied by 1 plus I, and I in this case is the interest rate per compounding period. I'll explain that more when we start looking at some questions. It's not just an annual rate, it would be the rate that applies to each compounding period, and we'll talk about what compounding periods are in a minute. That gets raised to the n, and that n represents how many times am I compounding over the life of the investment. So that's your formula. And these are the various parts of the formula that we need to be able to put into it for us to get the answer. Okay, let's move on. I talked about the compounding period. There are different kinds of compounding periods. Let me just let this person in. There are different kinds of compounding periods, and you have to read the question to really know which one applies. So many times it's annually. Annually really means once a year. If you subscribe to something annually, like a membership in something, and the subscription is annual, it means you only pay one time for the year. If that subscription was semi-annually, it means we're paying twice a year. So you would be paying, let's say, for instance, you'll be paying at the beginning of the year, like maybe January, then you pay again maybe in July, and then you pay in the next January of the next year. So twice a year is when you're paying. Quarterly means 4 times for the year. Monthly means 12 times for the year, because there are 12 months in the year. And daily means every day. So that's 365 days a year. If you're compounding, I can tell you right now, this is the best one, because you're getting paid every single day. Okay? All right, so these are, you're gonna have to make sure you remember these. Annually once, semi-annually twice, quarterly 4 times, monthly 12 times, and daily 365 times for the year. So let's do our first question. I put the formula at the top here, just to remind you what this looks like. And it says, I have a $1,500, that's the amount of money that I have. I'm gonna get a 7% rate, and it's gonna be compounded. If you think of the table, it says annually, which is once for the year, but I'm gonna do that for 3 years. So for every time we do these questions, I'm going to ask you for the P, the I, and the N, the PIN. Sometimes people refer to it as the PIN. So the P, I'll just walk you through the first one, is how much money am I putting into the account? So that's your $1,500 right there. So that's your P. P is the $1,500. The I is the interest rate, but now it says compounded annually. That's only once a year. So I'm not gonna do anything to the I for this question. This question is just gonna have an I of 0.07. That's the 7%. Remember we talked about yesterday or 2 days ago, dividing it by 100, moving the decimal place 2 places to the left to turn it into a decimal. So 7% works out to be 0.07, and it says for 3 years. So my T, or you know what, I said T is actually N. Anyway, I'll fix that for in the future. All of my slides here have T in it. That's just an error that I made. It should have been N. Anyway, so my N is 3. So in the formula, I'm going to put it exactly the way it says in the formula. My A is equal to the $1,500, 1 plus 0.07, this number here, raised to the power of the 3. Okay, so I have a bunch of you here. I need you to put that in your calculator, and I'm going to be asking one of you for that answer in a minute. So everybody do that for themselves now. All right, everybody do that for themselves. Put those numbers exactly how it looks in a calculator. You're supposed to have a calculator. I asked you to do that. 1,500 times 1.07. So open a bracket, 1.07 to the power of 3. And everybody should know how to use that power button. There's if you look at your keypad on your calculator, there's a thing that raises things to the power. If you can't find it, let me know, and I might be able to help you with that. But I need you all to do that right now. Okay, Jad, I'm going to go to you first. Unmute yourself and tell me what your answer is. I'll click on the screen in a second, but I want to know what you got.
I got $1,837.56.
Okay, let's see if you rounded that correctly. Absolutely. Did everybody else get that? Hopefully that's the case. All right, yeah. You tried it for yourself and you got the same thing. All right, Kasia, what did you get? Kasia, did you get the same thing?
Same thing, yeah.
Got the same thing? Okay, great. All right. So the first question is the easiest one because really all I've done is I made it annually. I didn't have to do anything to the I. I didn't have to do anything to the N. This is supposed to be N. I'm sorry that I put T. Just, you know, it's kind of ignore that and think of it as being the N.
Wait, I have a question.
Sure.
Why did you power it to 3?
Because that's the formula. Remember, when I went to the formula for the previous page, if you look at the formula, I'm pointing to it right now. This N here, that's an exponent. So it's 1 plus I to the power of N. So it's not like what we did yesterday, where we were using simple interest. For compound interest, we have to use an exponent this time. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's move on. Now, I didn't do anything to the I, didn't do anything to the N, but in the next question, I want you to notice this. This says compounded semi-annually. Now think about, let me take you back a second here to the previous slide where I showed you all the various compounding periods. Semi-annually was 2. That's twice a year. So I want you to think, okay, let me go back to the one we're on now. If I'm going to pay you 9%, and 9% is what I would pay you for the whole year. That's what I would, if I'm the bank and I'm paying you 9% for the whole year, but I'm going to pay it to you over 2 times. In other words, I'm not going to pay you all at once. I'm going to give you some at one point and then some at another point. Should I give you 9% both times? So would that make sense to you? Would that be fair to you as the bank? If this 9% is what you should pay them for the whole year, but I'm going to pay you twice. Should I pay you 9% twice? Anybody, what do you think?
No.
What do you think I should do with that 9% if I have to pay you twice for the year? What's going to be fair to the bank that's trying to work out this calculation? Does anybody think?
Divide by 2.
Absolutely. So we're going to change what we did the previous time. Our first thing is the P is still 1,800, but now we're going to take the I and divide 0.09 by 2 because I'm paying you twice for the year. But if I'm paying you for 6 years, what should I do to my N? I have T here, but it really should have been N. What should I do to my 6 years? Every year you're going to get paid twice. So am I only going to pay you 6 times? But remember, I'm paying you twice every year. So how many times am I going to actually pay you if every year you're going to get paid twice? What do you think?
12.
Exactly. So I'm going to take my 6 and multiply it by 2. So that's what happened to my N. I have T again. I'm apologizing for that. I should have had N, not T. I'm going to take my 6, the 6 years, and multiply. So I'm going to divide the interest rate by 2 and multiply the number of years by 2. The same 2 that I am using because it's semi-annually. I'm going to use it to adjust the interest and adjust the time, or the N. So when I put that into my formula, it's going to be different from what I had in the previous question. Here's what my formula looks like. It's the 1,800, 1 plus, I'm going to take now the 0.9 and divide it by 2. So what my I is, I'm going to raise that to the power of 12. Exactly what you just said.
Quick question.
Sure.
So you know when it says the one?
The one, yeah, this one here, yeah.
So what is that for again?
Really what you're doing is you're saying, I want to take my 1800 and I want to add on to the 1800 once plus the interest rate. So this is the part that just, you see, when we're talking about amount isn't just what you get for interest. Amount is the interest and the principal. If I took away this one and all I did was 0.09 over 2 to the power of 12 and I multiply that by the 1800, all I'd be getting is the interest. But I'm not interested in just the interest. I'm interested in the interest plus the amount of money I put in the first place. So that's why that one is there. Okay, so put that into your calculator now, and I'm going to be calling on one in a second. So 1800, 1 plus 0.09 over 2, then everything raised to the power of 12. Remember that 12 comes from the 6 times 2 over here. We're going to pay you twice a year, but it's for 6 years. So if every year you're going to get 2 checks, and I'm going to do that for 6 years, I'm going to give you 12 checks in all. And that's why that is there. Okay, Zubair, your time. Unmute your mic and tell me what you're getting when you put that all in, and let's see if it agrees with my answer. And I'm going to also ask you to make sure you round it correctly to 2 decimal places. So we'll wait for you to get that done. Go ahead, Zubair. Everybody else should do it for themselves. So if he's wrong, I should be able to get somebody else to give me an answer. All right?
Is it $19,688 dollars and 52 cents?
Well, let's see. No, not at all. Not at all. Let me double check my answer because I could be wrong, but it's a lot more than that. I'm just double checking that I did make a mistake. So 18,000, then the 1 plus 0.09 divided by 2 raised to the power of 12. Nope. You need to try that again. Did anybody else get my answer? The 30,525.87?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so double check what you got, Zubair, because I checked mine again and I'm right. So you want to make sure you get it.
Calculations wrong.
Okay, all right, that's okay. That's okay. All right, I'm going to move on. So hopefully everybody else got that one, and we're going to move on. Now remember, the key to this one was looking at the compounding period. Semi-annually means twice. Divide the interest by 2, multiply the number of years by 2 as well. So the 2 comes into both. One is a division, one is a multiplication. All right, let's move on. Next question. $21,000, 13.6% compounded quarterly for 4 years. Now, I don't have my table here, but anybody remember what quarterly means? How many times per year is quarterly?
4.
Absolutely. So, first of all, the principal is still the 2,100. That's not changing. The principal is not being changed. What is this 13.6% again? Give me that as a decimal, please, somebody. Amari, what is that as? Go ahead. No, it's okay. Go ahead.
0.136.
0.136. And what am I going to do with that 0.136?
Divided by 4.
That's exactly what we're going to do. 0.136 divided by 4. Now, how about the 4?
Multiply by 4.
Well done. Well done. So it's going to be 4 times 4. So this is my P, that's my I, that's my N. I have the T, but I keep apologizing. It's actually N. So let's put the formula together. The 21,000, 1 plus the 0.136 over 4, raised to the power of 16, because 4 times 4 is 16. Right there. There's your number. All right. Let's see. I'd like somebody to jump in and try to work that out. And before I have to take, Mohammed, I'm going to ask you for your answer on that one. Round it to 2 decimal places.
35,854.85.
Okay, let's see what I got. 35,854.85. Well done, and rounded correctly as well. Okay. Everybody clear on what we just did? Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Next question. This is semi-annually again. We've done semi-annually before, so we should be good at this. Here's my P, the 1030, nothing strange there. How about my 4%? Let me start, Tyrell, let me start by giving, what do I turn 4% into if this is a decimal? What is that? Say it again.
0.4.
0.4 will be 40%. So try again.
Oh, so wait. Is it 0.04?
Okay. And what are we going to do with that 0.04 if it's compounded semi-annually?
Say that again.
What do we do with the, you're right about the 0.04, but we have to divide it by something. And what are we going to divide it by since it's semi-annually?
We're going to divide it by, I want to say the 4%, but I'm not sure.
No. Can somebody help him out there? What are we dividing by? Dividing by 2. Semi-annually means twice for the year. So I should take my 0.04, divide it by 2. How about my 2 years? What am I going to do with my 2 years?
Multiply 2.
There you go. So it's 2 times 2. So let's put it all together into the formula. So it's 1030, 1 plus 0.04 over 2, multiplied by, sorry, to the power of, I got that wrong, to the power of 4. Well done. All right, so let's see. Amari, give me a number for that, please. Work that out and tell me what you got.
1,114.91.
Okay, let me see if you rounded that correctly. Well done. There you go. All right. Hopefully you all realize that all this money stuff is important. We're all going to be using money at some point. You're probably using it already. So it's important for you to understand how this works.
Wait, so how would I round it in, like round it by 4 in the calculator?
Round it by 4. When you say round it by 4, you mean the 0.04?
Nah, because you know how it's like there's like the 4 beside the brackets on the outside.
This 4 here? Okay, you're raising it to the power of 4 though. So on your calculator, you look for that thing that raises it to the power. It depends on your calculator. I'm not sure what kind of calculator you have.
Scientific one. Or
Scientific one. Well, look on the key. Okay, let's move to the next one. $55,000 compounded monthly now, 16% for 2 years. So let's start off by asking the question. What do I put for my I? What would be a good I? This is monthly this time. And what monthly was? How many times is monthly? If I give you something monthly, if I give you a check monthly, how many times am I going to give you that check for a year? How many checks are you going to get? I give you something monthly.
12.
Okay. Oh crap! I just realized that my thing is off here. Hold on. Plug this in. All right. Okay. Can everybody hear me? I kind of had to change over my attachments a while. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So I just asked. I don't know who answered the question, but somebody gave me the answer. I just asked, how many checks am I going to get if I'm being paid monthly? And what was the answer again?
24.
Well, 24 for the 2 years, but for each year, it's just going to be 12. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take my 16%, which is 0.16, divide that by 12. And then you're right. I heard I think it was Amari who just said it. I'm going to take my 2 years and multiply it by 12. So yes, I'm going to get 24 for that. So here comes my formula. It's the 5,500, 1 plus 0.16 over 12 being raised to the power of 24. 100%. So Jad, talk to me.
Yeah.
Give me a number.
Okay.
When I'm finished here, I'm going to try to see if I can get this camera hooked up and just walk you through how this looks on the calculator. Anyway, Jad, let's hear what you got.
Yeah. $1,938,000.
Whoa, that sounds like a lot of money for $55,000. You think of yourself putting $55,000 in the bank. It's going to take a while for you to get $1 million out, man. That's way too high. So try that again. 55. Yeah.
I put 55,000 open
Mhm.
bracket
Yeah.
1 plus. Hold on, I didn't divide the percentage correctly.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes a difference.
I just need help putting in the calculator because that's why I think I'm keeping getting the wrong answer.
Okay. All right. I may have to stop sharing for a little bit. So let me see if I can get my camera hooked up. So in the meantime, Jad, go ahead and try working that out. All right. Okay, so this is the question we're on. And here's where we're at. And I need an answer now. I think it was Jad who was going to give me an answer. So Jad, what do you have? Go.
75,582 and 4 cents.
Excellent, which is exactly what I have. All right, let's move it along. Now, this question is daily. All right, compounded daily. So what do we do with our I? What do we do with our N? Let me first of all put the principal in. The principal is 28,600. What are we going to do with our I?
Mr. Kamak,
Yes, sir.
can you go back?
Sure. There you go.
Yeah, I just need to do something.
Okay. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. So I was asking about compounding daily. That actually happens with some investments. Your interest is paid daily. What does that mean for the I? What are we going to do with the I? Well, let's put the P in first. The P is 28,600. What happens to the I?
Divided
By?
365.
Well done. So first of all, we know it's going to be 0.079. That's as a decimal. It becomes 365. And how about the N? It's for 2 years. What do we do with that 2 again? I think everybody knows this now. Multiply it by the 365. So let's go through the calculation. Here's my formula: 28,600, 1 plus 0.079 over 365 up to 730. So let me see. Keisha, let me give you that one. Give me an answer for that. And round it to 2 decimal places, please.
Oh, I forgot to do something.
That's all right. Take your time.
I got 33,494 and 78 cents.
So you're saying this. That's what you got?
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, 2 more questions. We're going to use a word problem now. I think it's important for you to be able to not just say a bunch of numbers, but be able to extract from those numbers, from those words, what you need for your calculation. So this says determine the value of a savings bond. So a savings bond is a kind of instrument. We have Canada savings bonds, for instance. So you can invest in a savings bond that is sold by the federal government. And they're saying that you're going to hold this bond for 7 years, and the interest rate is 5% compounded semi-annually. So we have all of the things there in all of those words that we need. So help me out. What part is the P? What part is the I? What part is the N? That's what I'm trying to get from this. Let me start with the P. Zubair, what's the P in this case?
5,000.
5,000, good. So that's my P. How about the I in this case? I'm not going to give you any hints. Tell me how I get the I. Go ahead, anybody. Jad, what's the I?
So it'd be 0.025.
Well, you're right in that you're going to take the 0.05 and divide it by 2, right? So I'm just writing it this way rather than, you did the calculation in your head already, which is great, but I'm going to write it out this way. I'm going to divide it by 2. And finally, how about the last part? What do I do with the n? What's the n going to be in this case?
7 times 2.
So this thing right here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put it all into the equation now. There's my equation.
sir.
Yes, sir.
I do not get it.
You don't know how I got what part?
Nah, like all of this, like I don't get it.
Okay, we're saying that the interest rate, which is part of the formula that I have right here, you have to look at what the compounding period is. When it says semi-annually, that interest rate has to be divided by whatever that interest rate is. So if it says semi-annually, that's 2. So we're going to take the 0.05 and divide it by 2. If it's for 7 years, that has to be adjusted as well because of the compounding period. And since it's semi-annually, that's 2. So so whatever you divide this by, you multiply the years by the same number. So 0.05 going to be divided by 2. That's the interest rate divided by 2. And the 7 years gets multiplied by 2. So in one case, I think I was Tyrell, you divide by the compounding period and you multiply by the compounding
So where did you
period.
get the 2 from?
Because it says semi-annually. When I started this off, I said that semi-annually meant twice a year. That's where the 2 comes from.
All right.
Okay, thanks for the question. All right, so we need a number now. We need an answer. Amari, let me come back to you. Give me a number, please.
9,899.66.
All right, so let's see if, whoa, that's not what I have.
Oh.
Unless I made a mistake, that's not what I have. I'll double check. No, I can make a mistake, so I'll double check.
Oh, I didn't put the thing and divide the 2.
Oh, okay, well, that's different then.
Yeah.
So let's see what you get this time. Anybody else got my answer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. Okay. The last question, so everybody is okay with that answer. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing with a question like this, and it's this. Put a statement. If this is a word problem, we're dealing word problems before. We just had a bunch of numbers thrown at us. But this says, what is the value of a $5,000 savings bond? So I should, at the bottom of this, give some sort of a statement that says, therefore, the bond is worth whatever. So this, by the way, is the original $5,000 plus the interest that I earned on this bond. So by the way, how much interest did I earn on this bond? If I put in $5,000 and my bond is now worth 7 years later, $7,064.87, I must have earned some interest. How much interest have I earned? How much interest? Is this all interest?
No,
Okay, so how much of it is interest?
just subtract it.
I subtract the $5,000 from that. So it would be $2,064.87. That's my interest. This $7,000 includes the $5,000 I put in the first place. I want to make sure everybody understands that point. Okay? All right, let's move on. One more question. This is a challenging question. Let me just walk you through the scenario here. You put $1,000. You're all close to 18, so you're not there yet. I don't think anybody's 18 yet. But on your 18th birthday, you get $1,000 from your rich uncle. And he says, go and invest this money according to what you learned in your math class. And you found a bank that was going to give you 8%. That's not likely, by the way, because banks aren't offering that kind of rate right now. That's too high. But let's say you did. And the bank says they're going to give you 8% and they're going to compound it semi-annually. What would your investment be worth when you retire at 65? So you're 18. You're going to retire when you reach 65. So you want to know what happened to your $1,000. What is my $1,000 worth now? Okay, so that's the thing I want you to think about. An everyday kind of situation that you have to work your way through. What part of this is my principal? Looking at all of this information I gave you, what part of that's my principal?
The $1,000.
Good. So let's start by putting that down. How about the I? What are we going to do with that I? This I.
Is it the 8%?
Yeah, so I just put 8%.
So now you put 0.08. Right?
Well, we have to do something with that, though. We have to adjust that. It says semi-annually here. We just talked about semi-annually. So we have to do something with that 0.08. So that is the original I, but we have to adjust it because it's semi-annually. Can anybody help me out here?
Divided by 2.
Exactly. So 0.08, yeah, that's the amount in decimals, but I have to divide it by 2. So the last part of this is, what's my N?
47
How do you know that?
times 2. I subtracted 65 and 18
Well done. Well done.
and then multiplied by 2.
Because I need to know how many years we have this money invested for. I put it in when I'm 18. I take it out when I'm 65. How many years do I have between those two? And you're absolutely right. That's 47 years. But we have to multiply that 47 years by the same 2 we divided this 0.08 by. So take the 65 minus the 18. You can do that on your calculator. That is 47. You're quite right. And multiply that by 2. So here's my last question. $1,000. Think about this. You put $1,000 in the bank when you're 18. You come back when you're 65. Bank has been paying you 8% all along. Now, I should warn you, in the real world, your interest that you earned on an investment is taxable. So unless you have in what's called a tax sheltered account, and they do have accounts that you don't pay taxes on, then you wouldn't get all of the interest. I just want to make sure it's real to you, that you understand that in the real world, when you earn income on your investments, you do have to pay taxes unless you're really smart about your investments and put in what's called a tax sheltered account. They have things that are called tax-free savings account, TFSA. You have RRSPs. These are all tax shelters. But if you didn't put in a tax sheltered account, you'd have to pay tax. But let's just assume this is in a tax sheltered account and there are no taxes. Put all of that in your calculator right now.
Wait.
And
so
yes, go ahead.
Is the answer 97,760?
Not what I remember. That's not the number I remember. I will try to put this thing under the camera for you in a minute, but for now, that's not the number I remember. So I'd love to hear some other people's number, and then we're going to try to demonstrate that on the calculator in a minute.
39,914.79.
Okay, there you go. So you put $1,000 in, you walk away, you do nothing with that money. At 8%, you come back when you're 65, and the check that you have waiting for you is $39,914.79. That's the way money works. The earlier that you can start saving and investing is the better it is for you, right? You put it in there for 47 years, you end up with a nice chunk of money at the end. All right, I'm gonna try one more time with this camera. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have any success. It was working at one point yesterday, but it's not working now. I tell you what, let me do a little video clip of it. Let me say this to, I think it was Tyrell who was asking about how to put in the camera. I'll try to do a little video and add it on to the video that I'm recording now for this class, okay? So that's it from me for today. Is there anybody who has any questions? I'm gonna do a little homework assignment again and put that online for later. It's not there yet. But I did get homework done by some of you, and I have given you 5 out of 5 if you got it all done. But I did also look at it and tell you which ones were right, which ones were wrong. And if I had any comments or feedback to give you, I gave you those comments or feedback.
Do I just have to click on the assignment to see the feedback?
Yeah, correct. And if any comments in there, you'll see them. And if you got something wrong, you see a little red X beside it.
And you know at the beginning of the video, right? How they showed that, like, that table showed
yes,
annual and all that stuff.
Yes.
I don't know, it's okay if you can't do it, but like after the video or sometime, can you upload like that chart again?
Well, I can go back to it right now, and of course you can also go to the video. Oh, there it is. You can actually go to the video and you can sort of freeze it on that chart so that you can probably write it down, but it's right there on the screen right now. But it will be in the video. Yeah, our screenshot it. There you go. All right.
Okay. And so when it says 365, that means 1 year, right?
That means daily. That means that you're going to get paid every day for the year. Correct.
All right. Okay.
All right. All right. Everybody good? We can leave it there?
Yeah.
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 Okay.